As we've all heard, Brock Lesnar has tested positive in an anti-doping test by the USADA. He faces fines and potentially a suspension. But what does that really mean? Was Brock Lesnar using steroids? Not necessarily, but we'll get into that here in a moment. You see, when men get into their 30s, they quit producing nearly as much testosterone, which makes it hard for them to pack on weight and muscle. So what a lot of athletes and athletic people do is they go to a youth rejuvenation clinic and they get prescribed legal steroids. They get a testosterone implanted or injected, and it helps them build muscle. Technically speaking, it's perfectly legal for guys like Vince McMahon, The Rock, Brock Lesnar, and Triple H to use this sort of steroid, testosterone, under a doctor's supervision. But a lot of sports ban it because it gives an unfair advantage to certain athletes, and it becomes very dangerous when people start to use too much, which inevitably happens. So what did Brock Lesnar do wrong? Well, technically, he didn't test positive for steroids. He tested positive for an anti-estrogen. Why would he be taking something to keep him from ovulating? Because that's what it's designed for. Hydroxychloroquine, the estrogen blocker that Brock was using, wasn't for a competitive advantage. It was most likely used because he was cycling off of steroids, and when you do that, your body produces a lot of estrogen. And in order for him to not have man boobs, to not get female-like characteristics, and not lose a lot of muscle, he had to block the production of his own estrogen. Think of it this way. If you're injecting a bunch of testosterone or steroids into your body produces estrogen to counter that. When you stop introducing the steroids, the estrogen is still there, and you need to block it so you don't develop female characteristics, including a low percentage of muscle. Essentially, the story is that Brock was juicing for months and months before the fight. He cycled off right before the fight, which makes sense. He lost a little muscle. He lost about 30 pounds before the fight. And then he still had an unfair advantage over Mark Hunt, who had never used steroids, at least according to the tests. Brock Lesnar probably didn't even know it was against the rules to use the estrogen blocker. But they figured out that he was probably using some sort of steroids, and they're punishing him for it. Do you think that's fair? And do you think it gave him an unfair advantage in the fight? Go ahead and leave your comments below. We'd love to hear from you.